Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about removing the filters, some filter options, remove some labels, folder cruising, and then go into stacks. So one thing I wanted to mention is this path bar right here that you see. You can always click on a previous arrow or any arrow and then go into that folder. And you'll notice this is January folder. Remember from the previous lesson we did that. But you could have an option that says show items in subfolders. Okay, so you'll see January and all the photos that were in January if you wanted to. If you don't, just click cancel and then we'll go back. So I'm going to double click on January just to show you. So all these labels I still have. So I'm going to go back up to stacks. I'm going to select all by Control A. And I'm going to go to label, no label, to remove those. Okay, I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to go back to clouds, Control A, label, no label. Now, there's something else I wanted to mention, that instead of going through each of these labels, what you could do is you could select textures and then shift select buildings, and that will select all the rest of those labels, and then just go to labels. Oh, I have to select them first. Shame on me. That happens. Okay, and then I'll remove the rest of the labels, and then you can see here. See, you can see from the filter panel those disappear. Now let's try the stars. So I'm not going to remove the stars, but I just wanted to show you something with the filter panel. If you were to select 2 stars, there's all your pictures. Now if you shift select 3 stars, it's going to show all of, because remember it already had 2, and then we shift selected the 3 stars, it's going to show everything from 2 stars and above. If you wanted to invert it, you would press Alt, and that will invert it. So that would select just the 1 star and not select all the other stars. So if I do it again, it will select not 1 star, but everything else. So sometimes that's a quick way of doing something. So for example, let's say you had all this and you wanted to get to 1 star, you could just Alt select, excuse me, try that. You can Alt select and then remove the check mark to quickly go through the filters here. Now let's talk about stacks. And what are stacks? Stacks are an easy way to combine multiple images into one stack for easier reference, and also to bring less clutter to the content area. So as we can see here, we have one photo, and these pretty much look the same. So you would select the first photo, shift click the last photo, and that will select everything in between. And you can either right click and choose stack, or you can go to the stack menu and say group as stack, or you can use the shortcut Control G. And this will make a stack. In this stack, it tells you that you have 9 photos within the stack. Just press the 9 and it will expand the stack, collapse the stack, expand, collapse. Now to add something to the stack, you would just take the photo and drag it into the stack, and you can see it updates and also changes to a play now. And then you see this little weird thing going on. Well, when you have a stack and you have 10 or more photos, you can actually view it within the stack. So you can move through the stack. Isn't that nice? I love that. Now, I wouldn't press the play button because you didn't see anything. And the reason is if you right click and you go to stack, you go to frame rate, you can see the frame rate is 29.97 frames per second. We only have 10, so you can see you'd need 29 frames to equal 1 second. So you can see with just 10 frames, it's going to go really fast. So to me, the frame rate thing isn't going to apply here. That's if you have a lot of photos in the stack. So I would just use this if you want to move through the stack and see what's in there, which is really nice. So let's expand the stack again. Let me decrease the thumbnails so we can see more. To ungroup it or to remove this building from the stack, you would select the photo, you would right click stack, and you would say ungroup from stack. Okay. Let me go back to the top. Okay, let me collapse the stack again. Now, let's say that you have your stack and maybe you like this photo instead to be the top photo, because see, when you create a stack, the first photo that you select becomes the top of the stack. So what we could do is select the photo we believe is a better representation of the stack. You could go to the stack menu, and say promote to top of the stack. And then watch what happens when we collapse it, as you can see here. Now let's say that you have your stack and maybe you don't want this stack at all. Well, what you could do is just select it. Okay. Now if I'm right, you should be able to say stack, ungroup from stack, and we'll only ungroup the one you selected. See, that was a trick question for you. You have to actually select them all. Okay. Right click, this time, stack, ungroup from stack, and your stack is gone. Okay, so remember, now that we have our stack, how do we ungroup? Well, you can make sure they're all selected if you want. You can go to stack, ungroup from stack, and that will take your stack out, as you can see the individual photos here. So stacks offer a lot of options to conserve on space, to allow you to group related items together, and it's very handy. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about searching and finding your photos in case you don't know exactly where they are.